Hi, everyone, and welcome to our short, sweet, and informative travel talk to Churchill. I'm Bonnie Hinchberger, and I'm one of the co-founders of Broad Escapes Tours for Women. I'm really excited to be sharing with you our destination, Churchill in Manitoba. For years, I've always wanted to travel to Churchill, and it's always been difficult to get space. So there was a bit of a silver lining to the pandemic in that I was able to get space for a small group of travelers last year. So I experienced it last year and enjoyed it so much that I wanted to bring another group back this year. So our women's tours offer travel in a fun, safe, and welcoming environment. But this tour has a bit of a twist in that we are sharing it with sharing our Tundra buggy, which I'll talk about later in the presentation. We're sharing that with another group within our Ellison travel family. So that group will have a mixed crowd. And so on this particular tour, you are welcome to bring your significant other. I've partnered up with the best company in Churchill, and our core values are very much aligned. Sustainability is very important to them. They're very community focused. They have exceptional interpretive guides, and they have a dynamic team waiting for our arrival to ensure an extraordinary journey for everyone. So I'm going to start the presentation off with a short video, and then I'll go through the day-to-day itinerary, and then I'll pop back on after the presentation for any question and answer period. So I'll just share my screen here. If you want to buckle up, we are on our way to Churchill. So I'll start with our day-to-day itinerary, give you a brief outline of what you can expect on our Churchill adventure. So day one is our arrival in Winnipeg, and we'll be staying at this Lakeview Signature Hotel, and it's actually right across the street from the airport. So we'll just walk over right from the airport. Now this is a land-only package, but we do offer a flight from Toronto. We have Group Air confirmed from Toronto, so anyone flying from Ontario can certainly book with our Group Air on that. So that night, we're going to have a meet and greet and a welcome dinner. And we will be meeting our interpretive guide. He will do an orientation briefing and answer any questions you have about the tour, give us a little briefing about polar bears and what to expect. So the next morning, we will rise bright and early, and we're taking a charter flight from Winnipeg to Churchill. And it's just a seamless transfer. We will go right from the airport or the hotel, and we will take a bus right to the airport tarmac. It's really easy. We miss check-in, our luggage is transferred automatically, and we just board the plane and grab a seat. When we arrive, we will meet a friendly group, our driver, and we will start our tour of the local and historic points of Churchill. So this is just a picture of the boreal forest up against the Hudson Bay. One of the items or activities that places that we'll see is the polar bear holding facility. And this is an important part of their community because they do have polar bears come into the community. And if they deem that the bear is a nuisance in that it comes on a regular basis, they will trap it in this bear trap and move it elsewhere far enough away from the community. So the time of year that we're going to be there, if they catch these, if they have any nuisance bears, they actually hold them in what is called the polar bear holding facility. And locals like to call that the polar bear jail. So this is actually part of the polar bear jail, and this is the back part of it. And a local artist, Cal Barteski, started this mural, and it has she spearheaded this campaign, and they've transformed buildings and blank walls into these beautiful pieces of art within Churchill. So it's quite nice to walk around and view the different murals in the town itself. There's another one there. This one's actually on the side of a restaurant. And of course, we'll visit the Churchill Inukshuk, which is the iconic site for Churchill. We'll have a nice hot lunch. And then, oh, sorry, this is just another picture of Churchill as well. This is actually the train station. And the first sighting that our group had of a bear, we actually saw one just outside of town on the train, so train tracks. So after hot lunch, we will have an activity, dog sledding activity. And this is a really interactive activity. It's be hosted by a Métis dog sledder. And this gentleman is just so passionate about his sport, his dogs, and he's very passionate about maintaining the Métis traditions. So we'll get a lot of Indigenous experience through him. And then, of course, you'll have a chance to do a little dog sled ride as well. So after the dog sled, we'll go back into town and we'll visit the museum. Now, this is a comprehensive collection of Inuit carvings, legends, animal bones, skulls, taxidermy, kayaks, and it's a very highly regarded museum. And here we will spend time viewing the artifacts, as well as we will have a guided tour. So that will wrap up our first day. Then we will check into our hotel and freshen up for a delicious dinner. So with the meals in the dinners, well, in Churchill, you'll have a selection of dinners to choose from. And that selection is usually done either in the morning, the day of, or the day before. So you'll have a nice choice of what you want. And the food when I was there, was fantastic. So the next day is the day everyone's been waiting for. It's a full day tundra buggy. And this is the tundra buggy, a photo of the tundra buggy that we will be on. We will drive to Wapusk National Park, and then we will board the tundra buggy. And you have to actually climb up onto a level in order to board these tundra buggies. They're quite high in the air. So this is an original tundra buggy. It's patented and specially designed to maneuver the tough tundra landscapes, and it's going to be our home for the day. It seats 44 people, but we will only have 22 people on board. So there will be plenty of room. Everyone will have a chance to have window seats and be able to take photos as they wish. It's very comfortable. It's heated inside. And you can see in the back there, there's also a balcony, and you can go outside to take photos from the outdoor. The viewing windows, as you can see, you're surrounded by viewing windows. What you're seeing here is the front of the tundra buggy. And then, of course, when you see the bears, you can open the windows and take photos right from your seats as well. So we will traverse on these through the tundra in search of bears. And we'll also have hot lunch served on board, as well as tea, coffee, and beverages. And there is a washroom on board, of course, and it's just a very comfortable experience for the day. So this is another picture of a tundra buggy here, and kind of give you an idea of the landscape that it has to maneuver through. On our buggy, we will have our interpretive guide who will be traveling with us for the duration. And this person here in this picture actually is David, and I have selected him to be our guide again this year. He is phenomenal. I know you're going to really like him. And our driver will also be an interpretive guide. So they're very informative, know absolutely everything there is to know about polar bears and the Arctic area. So then our day will look like this, looking in search for polar bears. And to give you an idea, when I went there, our first tundra buggy day, we observed 16 polar bears. And on our second day, we observed 26 polar bears. So they're very slow moving creatures at this time of year, and that's because they're trying to conserve energy. The ice still hasn't frozen, so they're conserving energy until they can get back on the ice and hunt. Most of these animals have not eaten since the early spring, so they are quite eager to get back onto that ice and hunt. So the nice thing about it, because they are slow moving, you can sit and observe. So once you see a polar bear, you'll often stop in an area and even just sit there for maybe an hour, or not an hour, but perhaps a half an hour, 45 minutes. And in some cases, you might even stop and have your lunch while you're observing the bears. It's very, very fascinating. So we'll often see bears challenging each other like this. As much as they are trying to conserve their energy, they also are trying to build up their muscles because they've been lazing around all summer, and they know they're going to need endurance in order to get out onto the ice and hunt. So this is just they have these friendly challenges with each other in order to build their strength. So this is actually a mother and a cub, although you wouldn't recognize the difference in the two photos, but you will see mothers and cubs out there, but the cubs will, a cub usually stays with their mother for 2 to 2.5 years. So by the time you see them in the fall, they're already at least a year old, and some of them are 2 years old. So in this particular case, this was a 2-year-old cub, and the mother will likely be trying to kick this cub out of her area there very shortly, as soon as she gets back on the ice and hunts. So we did the pregnant mothers right now, the time of year that we will be there. they will already be in their dens. They would have denned up in September, and they will birth in November and December, and then they won't come out of their den until March or April. So that's when you'll see the little tiny cubs and mother trying to teach them how to hunt. So other wildlife that we might run across would be the ptarmigan, a red fox, the Arctic fox, a snowy owl, and Arctic hare, among others. So after we come back and have a nice dinner, we are visiting the Polar Bear International in the evening. And this is a cutting edge interpretive center. Its sole focus is on polar bears, and it's a research center that scientists come from around the world to do research here. Their main focus is on conservation and sustainability of the bears. So we'll have an interpretive there as well as a lecture that night. And it's a really, really informative display of polar bears, and you'll really enjoy that. The one thing that PBI also has is a tundra buggy on their own, and it is a roving research vehicle. We'll see that when we're out on the tundra, and they broadcast live during the migration season so that people can watch the polar bears through a polar bear cam and stream it anywhere in the world. So it's that particular, the tundra buggy research vehicle does operate throughout the year, and scientists are on there. I think that it's a 24/7 operation, so very interesting as well. So on day 4, we will have another full day of tundra buggy, and after experiencing it for the first day, you're going to want another full day of it. It is really an incredible experience. So again, we'll be mostly on looking out for polar bears, but other wildlife as well. And it will be another fantastic day. The interpretive guide, of course, will give us even more information about the polar bears, and very, very informative. So at the end of that day, after our tundra buggy, we will be transferred directly to the airport, and we'll fly again without check-in. It'll just go directly to our chartered flight and back to Winnipeg. So I'm just going to review some polar bear facts just to give you some more information. The polar bear is the largest land predator on Earth. There's estimated to be about 25,000 polar bears in the world. Within that, there's 19 subpopulations, and 13 of those subpopulations live here in Canada. So we have 60% of the world's polar bears living here in Canada. So their primary food source is the ringed seal, and that's why they need to be on the ice in order to hunt the seal. They can't hunt them on land, so they have to have the ice frozen in order to hunt them. There's approximately 1,000 polar bears in the region that we will be in. It's called the Western Hudson Bay area, and those are the polar bears that migrate to Churchill to get onto the Hudson Bay. And Manitoba has 25,000 square kilometers of wildlife management, specifically to protect the natural land and habitat of the polar bears. And Churchill is known as the polar bear capital of the world. It is by far the best place in the world to view polar bears, and that's why it's so popular among people worldwide. Many fly here specifically to see the polar bears. So what to expect when you're in Churchill? You can expect daily temperatures, approximately -2 to -13, but very strong winds. You will have to bundle up with winter gear, and if you don't want to travel with it in your luggage, we have a rental gear option for you. You can rent parka, pants, boots, etc., everything right there. You can expect clean, comfortable, and centrally located accommodations, delicious food, and your choice of food as well. And when you're in Churchill, you'll need to be aware that the bears could be there. So you do have to walk in groups during free time, and we usually suggest you check with the front desk to find out if they've had any recent bear alerts. There is a polar bear alert program 24/7 that runs in Churchill. So if you're ever there and you hear the sirens, that means that there's been a bear spotted in the area. And you can also expect some exceptional interpretive guides. So what's included? I'll just kind of review that. We've got the charter flight from Winnipeg to Churchill return. We have 4 nights accommodation, 2 of them in Winnipeg, 2 are in Churchill. All your meals are included. We've got the interpretive dog sledding, the Polar Bear International lecture, 2 full days on the Tundra buggy, and you'll have the expert interpretive guide with us for the duration of the tour. I will be traveling with the group as well for anything that needs done on that end, and our gratuities are included as well. And to book this tour, I will say prior to us, when we started this presentation, we only have 3 seats left on this tour. Excuse me. So I would recommend, if you're interested in booking, to book soon so you're not disappointed. You can view all of the details of our tour on our website at broadescapes.com. You can certainly call us or email us, and you can ensure that you're traveling with peace of mind. We are safe travel certified, and which ensures that we've taken care of all of the safety protocols as well as the COVID safety protocols. Excuse me. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and just open this up for question and answer. And if you have any questions, please put them into the chat box. I'll just check it now and see if there are any in there. I don't see any. Does anyone have any questions?
Is there a weight limit for the smaller plane in terms of luggage?
No, I mean, it's the same as the regular, I believe it's the same as the regular airlines. I think it's 20 kilograms. Are there any other questions? Well, thank you again for joining us. If you do have any further questions, please reach out to us via email or by phone call. And I hope that I can see you in Churchill.